Brain fog is one of the most common things I deal with in my health coaching practice among my adults in their 30s and 40s. Brain fog is when you can't keep a train of thought, when your memory fails you, when after a taxing day of using your brain and multitasking, you just feel exceedingly drained and you're exhausted. This is where your brain is not able to deliver what you expect of it. Brain fog is not a diagnosis. So brain fog is an umbrella term like headache. There are many different reasons why somebody could have a headache, such as tension headache, migraines, caffeine withdrawal. And just like that, brain fog could be so many different things. It could be metabolic, it could be endocrine, it could be nerve connections in the brain, it could be blood sugar issues, it could be a lot of different things. So one of the most important things that I have to do as a health coach is figure out exactly what the underlying cause for somebody's brain fog is before we can even get to making specific changes, because brain fog can be so many different things. And if you chase the wrong thing, if you're just going after supplements, if you're just trying to get more sleep, if you just address your nutrition, you may miss the point. You may not get any good results. Let's talk about the top 3 things that I find in my clients with brain fog. Number 1, it's going to be the actual lack of energy to the brain, or another way to say it is there is a problem with energy delivery to the brain. So oftentimes this is going to manifest as crashing in the middle of the day. So you feel super exhausted and fatigued after using your brain. Now, this could even be having an argument with your partner. It could be after doing taxes. It could be at work, making multiple decisions, giving a big PowerPoint presentation. If you feel so drained after this, and if it is an energy delivery issue, then there are several different ways I want to address it. Number 1, it's going to be addressing somebody's glucose level and making sure that their brain has the aerobic capacity to use oxygen and fuel in a proper way. So this might be something we address with nutrition. It might be something we address with a little bit of aerobic exercise. And it's going to be different for everyone, but that's number 1. The second one is going to be cognitive overload. And usually this is because using your brain to its max capacity every single day. You can't do that with any body part. You cannot use your liver to its max capacity every single day. In fact, we know that if we remove 3/4 of your liver, 1/4 of it is enough to do all of your daily functions. So it tells us that your liver is only functioning at 25% capacity every single day. And it's the same with your brain. If it functioned at full capacity, you'd burn out, you'd be done. So depending on how many tabs you have open in your brain, it might become a problem in the long run. And on top of that, if you're somebody who's rather sedentary and you don't get a lot of movement and exercise, chances are just focusing on getting things out of your brain, but not really using the rest of your body. So that imbalance is going to tax your brain excessively. So once again, for this kind of individual, getting up in the middle of the day, doing a little bit of walking, maybe some resistance training work, but just getting up from that seated position can be a fantastic way to give the brain a break and then to tax it again to really get it to perform at a high level. The third one is closely tied to number 2. It's actual recovery. So when I say recovery, when you use your muscles after you do a heavy workout, you need plenty of time for that muscle to recover. Otherwise, if you go work it out again, chances are you're going to get an injury or you're just not going to get any gains. It's the same thing with your brain. You can tax your brain heavy, but you have to give it a recovery time. This might be a day or 2 of recovery. This might be 4 to 6 hours at the end of the day. But that recovery time has to be very intentional. It can't just be, okay, I'm just not going to use my brain. That's not going to work. You're going to have to do things that help refuel the neurons in your brain. That's going to help them regenerate. That's going to help them break down all the bad chemicals and get rid of it. So it has to be intentional. And especially for people who are like, hey, after the weekend, I'm actually a little bit better. Or if I don't have too much on my plate, my brain actually functions okay. For those individuals, this recovery is key. So what I do as a health coach when I approach somebody's brain fog is I don't try to diagnose it and come up with one regimen and here's the fix, this is what you do. It's not the way it works. First, we go into data collection mode. We really want to understand what this person's brain fog looks like, feels like, and what are some contributing factors based on what they're eating, their exercise, their cognitive load, everything, sleep, recovery. We want to capture all of this information and then we can together make an educated guess as to what things are likely going to move the needle. So I use something called the T.R.E.N.D framework, T.R.E.N.D. T is for testing. So in this case, we're testing how you're feeling, how your brain is functioning. So based on that, we can then go to R-E-N-D and make adjustments. And as we make adjustments, we go back to testing to see how you feel. So for the testing part, I actually have a very brief questionnaire. It's a score from 1 to 5 of what your brain fog feels like today. And this questionnaire has to be very specific to you because your brain fog is going to be different than my brain fog. If 1 is you can't even communicate, you can't even open your mouth because it's so bad, that's 1. 5 is you are so on top of it that if you continued using your brain to this max capacity, you would probably burn out within 2 hours. 4 is you can push it pretty hard and you can get a lot out of it, but you can't do that for too many days in a row or otherwise you burn out. 3 is perfect. 3 is where you want to be. You can use your brain, you can get tasks done, you can really process a lot of information, remember a bunch of stuff really effectively. And then 2 might be you're kind of sluggish, slow, you're not able to function, it's actually holding you back and it's making you feel uncomfortable or miserable. So this score, this testing is key. And based on that, we refine R, which is relationships, relationship to yourself, negative self-talk, relationship to your environment, your work stress. E, which is exercise, activity, movement. N, nutrition, whether it's supplements or food. D, which is your recovery, your downtime, your recovery, your sleep, and just getting your brain back to its baseline. That's the T.R.E.N.D framework that I use to approach this system. If you want a basic approach, here are 3 steps that I would take. 1, figure out exactly why your brain fog happens and what things make it better, what things make it worse, and figure out what objective score you can give it. Because remember, if you just constantly tell yourself I have brain fog, you might not be having brain fog in that moment. You might have moments where you actually don't have brain fog. Noticing that, jotting that down is really, really critical because that's when we know what things are contributing to your brain fog. 2, we're going to work on 1 or 2 systems at a time. So maybe I'm working on your nutrition and I'm just playing around with a few key things. Usually it's going to be things like maybe refined carbs, sugar, it might be caffeine, and just changing that around. How does that affect your brain fog? And step 3 is going to be just being consistent with this, because if you make change for just a Monday and a Tuesday, you're not going to see a lot of results. You want to make a change and be consistent with it for 2 weeks. When for 2 weeks, you really do these things effectively and consistently, if you don't notice any changes, then there's no way that your brain fog is related to your blood sugar problem. There's no way it's related to magnesium. It's not related to your vitamin D level. Every single thing you should try to adjust for 2 weeks at a time and notice the results. Now, as a health coach, I know that I can try step 1, step 2, step 3 really effectively. I don't have to wait 2 weeks. We can try several things at the same time because we collected so much data. But if that's what you're going to do, I would approach it in that way. No matter how you end up trying to figure out your brain fog and trying to solve it, remember that there are a few things that most people who suffer from brain fog have in common. They may have had severe childhood adversities. They may be under a lot of stress. Their diet may not be optimized. Their sleep might have enough hours, but it might not be adequately good recoverable sleep where you feel good in the morning, you feel recovered. Their exercise level might be too much, or it may not be enough, or it may not be at the right intensity. These are the things that most people with brain fog have in common. Yes, there are some people who might be vitamin deficient, nutrient deficient, but to be honest, that's not as common. Focus on the basics, make your adjustments, and see how you feel. Now, if you're looking for a health coach, if you're looking for a physician turned health coach, I'm Dr. Ashori, and these are the people that I work with. You can find out my information in the description below or in the bio above. I would love to help you fix your brain fog once and for all and feel great about yourself.
If you're looking for personalized guidance to improve your health, I'm Dr. Ashori. I offer physician-led health coaching that combines medical expertise with sustainable lifestyle strategies to help address the root causes of chronic health issues.